This is my Maker's Toolworks 3D printer. It has a relatively non-standard 8" by 9" print bed. I can't find a flexible build plate in that size, so I had to buy this 9" by 9" plate, and we're going to see about making that fit. Stuck a piece of paper down and cut out all the clearance areas I need. This is where the head homes to. I taped the template to the magnet sheet, and that's very easy to cut with just a pair of scissors. I used the magnetic sheet as a template to trace onto the flexible metal build plate. I used a cloth in my vise to pinch it without getting the metal all dented. And then I got my safety goggles and a rotary cutoff tool and a Dremel to cut those little corners out. And that's right there is why you're wearing the safety glasses. The heat from the rotary tool has caused this plastic to buckle up here, so I'm going to try to file that down. It doesn't look especially pretty, but it's relatively smooth after I file that. The edges of the metal are also not sharp enough to cut your finger right now. Pushing forward, I'm going to try to cut through this a little faster, see if I can get the heat to not melt the plastic quite as much. Looks like with this cutter you are going to get the plastic melting up there. I have to file the metal anyways to get rid of sharp edges. So filing the plastic down doesn't add a whole bunch of extra work. It just doesn't look very nice. I've not been 100% happy with the cutoff wheel because it causes enough heat to melt the plastic right at the edges there. So I'm going to try some tin snips here. I don't know if this is going to work any better, but we'll give it a shot on one of these corners and just see how it goes. Problem with tin snips is they can bend the build surface, and you kind of want a flat build surface for 3D printing. Also, my tin snips happen to be kind of dull, so if you had a better pair of tin snips, your results might be a little better. Alright, I got a different pair of tin snips, which may or may not be sharper. Yeah, this metal's just a little bit too thick for tin snips. I got one good cut there. I'm not getting a good cut over here. I'm going to go back to the cutoff blade, even though it causes a little bit of heat buildup. So you can see this side I did mostly with the tin snips. That side I did mostly with the cutoff blade, and so there's definitely the heat and the plastic browning and kind of peeling up there. But it looks like the cutoff blade's the way to go unless you have a lot better tin snips than I have. Time to change my disc. Alright, I have a new disc on. I think if you had some type of a metal nibbler or some tin snips that were better than mine, that might be the best solution here. My tin snips are too old and not sharp enough to get through this thick of metal. But if you had something for cutting sheet metal that wouldn't make as much heat, that might be the way to go. Test fit this guy to make sure it avoids all of your clamps. Then I test fit on the magnetic pad. You can see here I cut this 2 straight lines instead of a curved line, so I'm going to cut out just a little bit more of that magnetic pad there. And now we just have to clean all the gunk off that glass build plate. This isopropyl alcohol removes the glue stick really well. Because you only get one chance to put this magnetic plate down, I'm going to actually remove the glass plate, turn this guy over, and put the glass plate on top of it. Because this guy is significantly larger here than the glass plate, the magnetic bed and this guy are going to overhang a little bit. It's not going to increase my build volume. I don't want to cut off the edges of this because cutting this is so difficult, but cutting this is pretty easy. So to keep from having sticky stuff hanging out where it doesn't need to be, I am going to mark and cut off these extra pieces here. Building on a glass build plate is fine, but it's really hard to beat the convenience of a flexible build plate part removal.